Rumble going live, X going live, so all three are live, so we're all live. Good morning, everybody. How's it going?
Good morning.
And
then go ahead and bring up Audacity.
Yep. The recording.
Fire that off.
There we go.
It gives
Test
us
1,
permission to be audacious.
2. Test 1, 2. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Here, bring Audacity up again. There's something strange happening there.
Test.
Oh, no. Okay. It's fine.
All
All right.
Yep.
Go ahead and minimize that. And okay, you guys are good to go.
We might as well roll.
At this point, Christian, we can mute up and pop over to the other screen and then just click like anywhere on the chat there and or anywhere on the screen, and that drops the Edge thing down underneath so that they can see all of the chat without Edge sitting over the top of it.
Brings that window forward.
Yes. And now you and I can mute up and leave.
Okay, thank you.
Little things when you're on television, you see how the string comes out of my shirt here.
Oh, yes.
Instead of like running down.
Instead of being like a total amateur.
Your body.
You've been looking for a reason to do that.
Oh, dear.
I'll have to do that more often.
Oh, boys will be boys.
Oh, man.
You know what's funny? I'm 65 years old.
Yeah?
And I tell you, I feel like when I'm playing with my grandkids, I feel like I'm one of them.
For sure.
You just want to get on the ground and play and
the
wrestle.
Best. I just got back from spending time with my grandkids.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, my first 3 days, I think, added a year to my life.
The problem is when my grandkids try to overpower me and I throw them across the room.
You punch him in the face and go, get up now. What do you got, punk?
What do you got?
Is that the best you got?
By the way,
you are 5.
That's funny. All right. What are you talking about, Brian?
Oh, life, love, liberty.
Oh, well, you know we got to talk about. Have you been listening to this?
Oh, the
Jack
Minnesota
Smith?
stuff?
No, the Jack Smith trial.
No.
Oh, I want to talk about that.
I don't think so anyways.
Oh, boy.
There's been so many voices in the old news feed. So
I know.
Lots to talk about.
Mike Jones and Christian Maldonado, thank you, men, for helping out. Greatly appreciate both of you guys for doing this. Look at that. There, see, it's a little bit delayed.
We've never had that.
Checking all that stuff.
They're just checking what it looks like.
But when they are ready, they're going to tell us.
Wiping his eyes.
Good. Uh-oh, my hair looks a little funny there, so...
Yeah. Yeah, we need the handsome filter. Could somebody give us the
look
handsome
at that
filter?
Face. How could you love that face?
You can't. I don't.
Oh. Mike Jones, we're on a page once delayed and all the rest, so... I don't know if
we're used to just seeing the raw live image of ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get started until they're ready.
There we go.
Okay.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay. Let me make sure this works. Yes. We're ready. That means we're ready.
Yeah, now we're ready.
Yep. That's the here they are. Hey.
And welcome.
Thank you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Perilous World Radio. Alan Masters here. Brian Boteller is also here. Foundation of Human Understanding, FHU.com is our website. Brian is the executive director of the Gospel Rescue Mission here in Grants Pass, Oregon, where we live, broadcasting to the world via X, Rumble, YouTube, and all kinds of different places. And you can find us on our website as well. Brian, your website?
GrantsPassMission.org.
Yeah. Brian has got a job. Woo! That's a job right there, dealing with homeless people and having to kind of, set some boundaries for them and teach them things that they haven't wanted to learn their entire life, which has put them in the position that they're in, which most of us have, needed that same kind of guardrails.
We've all had to go through it. We just learn it at different times.
They just went a little farther than that.
Well, you and I learned at 12. Some of these folks are learning at 47.
You took all the way to 12?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're an old guy. But here's something I want to talk about. So I'm watching on the news the trial of Jack Smith, who was the guy that tried to, put Trump in jail, right? And so he's now on trial. And what I witnessed from the time that I listened was really kind of, how do I say, it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening because when you watch these attorneys, normally if you're in court, which I don't have much court stuff in my life, I've had like a couple of things, but they're you learn a lot when you're in the courtroom.
Yeah.
You watch the attorneys and talking to the judge, and they have this element of respect, and they have this proper decorum, and they're arguing. And you're like, that ain't arguing. Let me show you arguing.
Right.
But they're arguing their points.
A decorum that goes between them, and a rules of order of how they do this. Yes.
And a professional nature.
Yeah.
And if you never go to court and watch somebody deal with that stuff, or even if you watch it, you're like, I don't know what that is. But when you're involved, you watch intently. But so I've had a little of that, and I kind of looked at that, and I went, you know what? I can learn from that.
Yeah.
I can learn that actually the judge, who's the judge, maybe the person you're trying to convince that may be the judge, right? Because you're trying to convince them of your argument. Right. But if you do it and you're angry and disorderly and you're trying to make your point, they're not going to hear a damn thing. They're only going to see that you're out of order.
Correct.
You're out of order. You're in contempt. And that's what you have, contempt for the person that you're trying to argue your point with.
So like taming in and restraining your emotional, your maintaining emotional control, bridling your tongue, being thoughtful in how you present your argument, being meticulous in the language that you use, and everything. Calm, collected demeanor. Yeah.
And I watched that, and I was like, gosh, that works.
Yeah.
But when you grow up, it's like the loudest, the fastest, and the meanest usually wins, especially like when our family, it was like whoever could get to dad first was going to be able to tell their story about the other guy. And then maybe dad would say, well, I've heard, and you're like, no, Johnny's a liar, and
right.
And then, but it was all because somebody, you know how it is when somebody accuses you of doing something maybe you didn't do, or they accused you and it's not the truth.
Yeah.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. There's been stuff added.
Yeah.
You get mad. But then what happens is, dad sees this crazy mad guy. Of course he's mad. He got caught.
Yep.
That's kind of that whole thing. Of course he's angry. He got caught, so he's angry. But I look at what's going on in the news today with this whole Jack Smith trial that's going on, and I realize, wow, these guys are really good liars. The Democrats, the Jack Smith side of things. So they have a gag order on him on what he can talk about, because there's all kinds of, things that when they raided the president's mansion, his house in Mar-a-Lago, and
can't sit there and go, how was the furniture arranged?
Well, or what was in the panty drawer of Melania, right? Because that's
right. That's what I mean.
They went in her drawer where her underpants are. It's like, so they just have, and also the documents that are sensitive to whatever.
Right.
So what happens is he can't say it. So then his attorney gets up there and starts talking about all the things that guy can't say. He says, you can't say it. And so they're keeping America from the truth that this, that, and the other, but you can't say it and we can't talk about it. It's like asking the guy, so have you, when did you quit, beating your wife?
Abusing your wife.
Yeah. I never abused my wife. Oh, yeah. Well, you look pretty guilty to me.
When you say,
there's no right answer.
Have you stopped abusing your wife yet? If you say no, then you still are. If you say, if you say yes, correct, then you are, and so, yeah.
It's gaming is what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're gaming, and the American mind is the game board.
Boy, And that's terrifying.
It is terrifying. They're so good at what they do.
And the American mind is so malleable. It is so manipulative, easy to
say
manipulate.
That word, yeah. Not easy to say, just easy to manipulate.
Right.
Manipulatable.
Yeah.
So I was listening. I'm driving along, and I'm listening to the left, the guy who is the attorney for Jack Smith, and their attorney for the left. And I'm listening to all these things that they're accusing Trump of, and that and he can't talk about this and he can't talk about that. But he's actually then planting those seeds of doubt into the minds of the people.
Of course.
It is such brilliant
strategy.
Yeah. And again, and I'm listening to this going, wow, if I didn't know better, because it had to do with, the Trump saying that the election was stolen from him and all this stuff. And,
right.
But what they're doing is arguing their points before. So they were planting the seeds of doubt into the American people before the trial even begins. This was the opening argument.
We're not allowed to share the documents that may or may not disclose that he's a child rapist, or something like, and then you're like, what? He might be what?
The rules of engagement are that the Republican, the right side and the left side, the right has to sit there and let them spew these lies and these twisted games and these seeds, these splinters of the mind, because the mind has no firewall for this stuff. And I'm watching this. And so I come to a conclusion while this is going on in my mind. Lord, protect me. It's like the armor of God, protect my mind.
Yes.
Because I hear what he's saying. He's very articulate. He's very sure of himself. He's very convincing. And I'm listening and I'm going, if I didn't know better, and I feel like I am a blessed human being to have a little bit. And my dad would say, in the valley of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like I at least have one eye, even though I got a sweaty eye with that's got the veins in it. But I at least have a little bit of understanding.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, but what about all those people that are the valley of the blind, that are just the blind leading the blind? And he's doing the virtue signaling, the call for the haters, the Trump haters. He's reinforcing the Trump derangement syndrome. But he's not supposed to be. That's not what's on trial. It's that man.
There is such a movement. There's such a movement, and it's been radically successful in like this movement in our generation, in this last generation, and maybe the previous one as well, to get us to not to be unable to recognize what is true and to question reality.
Yeah.
So you have people that are, that say that later on create these incredible stories, and about conspiracies about whether or not we landed on the moon and everything. And there's people that now, because they don't know what to believe, even though they were alive during the time, they knew what they saw. No, I saw now, I've seen all this conspiracy stuff and I can't know if I know the truth. And I think that that's part of the manipulation machine of the left in this area here. And I'm not saying that the right doesn't share in some of this, but that's kind of my take on it.
So here's the question. Do you folks see it and hear it? We'll be right back, talk more about this. Alan Masters, Brian Boteller, Perilous World Radio, and it is a perilous world.
It is.
Unquestionably a perilous world. My father wrote a book, Hypnotic States of Americans, and it's a survival guide for American people and families in a perilous world. That's where the name came from. I went, wow, we are really, one day when I woke up, we are really in a perilous world. And so I asked the question is, do you folks out there listening, when you hear, let's just say you're not watching it on television, like I was listening it on radio, do you hear the manipulation? Do you get angry at the manipulation? Because guess what? If you get angry, all of a sudden, that is part of the game.
Sure.
It's like you're on the edge of the bank of the river, and the river is going by, and all of a sudden there's somebody who is calling you names that is in the river. And you have a choice. You know that person in the river that's floating by and they're calling you names, that they're gonna be down the river in a little while, and you're sitting on the bank, and you can watch it, you can hear it. It's like, hey, you SOB, whatever,
Yeah.
And it's like
they're just trying to get you in the water with the alligators.
That's exactly where I was going.
Trying to get you.
They're getting you in the
There's
with the
piranhas in that water,
whatever,
yep.
and you can either react to it, or you can see it and go, wow, because this is just a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you let them pull your mind down into this angry place, you're going to eventually be what is wrong with the right side of the equation. And I'll give you an example of this guy who I've seen enough times, Lindsey Graham. Have you noticed him swearing all the time? Have you noticed this? He's on Fox News all the time.
Yeah.
That's network news.
Yep.
He's like swearing all the time.
Potty mouth.
And sometimes it comes through because it's live and you hear it in your living room, and he's like, those, this, that, and the other. It's a bunch of S.
Yeah.
And shiznit is what I said. That's the word you can say. It's like
Chinooer.
And it's like, wow. And then of course you watch the next feed, which is the West Coast feed.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching earlier in the day, you get the East Coast feed, and it's live.
Yep.
And then the West Coast feed's beep,
little polished.
Yeah. Or they just blanket. But he is so angry. He's so angry sometimes. He's got like spittle in the corners of his mouth. And
You're going to die of a heart attack.
He has been pulled into the anger. He's lost what these people in the court are not going to lose, I don't think. They're going to keep their decorum. They know that America is watching. They know that they have this chance to infect the mind, put a splinter in the mind of doubt of the American public, and especially in this particular case, because they're using this to insert all kinds of twisted half-truths and lies. Somebody earlier said this is Satan's game board.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I agree with that. It's Satan's game board. Do you want to be a part of that game? Do you want to be another chess piece? Because they will move you. The Black Lives Matter and all that. They were moving those Black Lives Matter people all over the chessboard, and they were just simply pawns for the evil that Satan wants in this world. So you got to be careful not to let your mind be corrupted, and that's where the armor of God. When I talked about the armor of God, spiritually, that's the armor of God is guarding your mind.
Yep. Well, and here's what I love. I mean, you've got a pretty biblically literate audience on Rumble. I really like. I've always liked the interaction there, and what you're talking about is from Ephesians chapter 6 about the idea of the armor of God. I mean, I really think that I find myself getting twisted up. I remember this when I was growing up. I would be listening to Rush Limbaugh, and I listened to this guy day in and day out, and Sean Hannity and all those guys. I remember when Sean Hannity, when Rush was just kind of bringing him up, and everything, and he was filling in for Rush, and it was just great.
Wow,
and
you were listening a long time.
Oh, and I listened for a long time on these guys, and I listened daily and everything. But then there came this point in time where I found myself coming home, and I was just
fired up,
tense all the time. And I realized that these guys were having an impact on me that I didn't like.
Emotionally, yes.
And so, brilliant guys, some of my heroes in conservative thought and everything, but. So I started going through this. Exercise of what I call praying through the Psalms, and I would just read through the Psalms, but I would pray about it. I'd pray for this to be me, and this is one of the ones that I always loved. It's Psalm 1, and it just says, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the wicked."
Don't point at me when you say that.
No. This is what we saw. This is what we saw. And this is what you're talking about in the counsel.
Right.
Nor stands in the way of sinners, nor nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. Yeah. He will be like a tree planted by streams of water that yield its fruit in its season, and its leaf doesn't wither, and all that he does prospers.
Yeah, I would say this.
Yeah, right. I mean, and
Tim Allen.
So yeah. So
That's
I
exactly
just keep
right.
coming back to this place where it was like once I started spending time.
Yep.
Where I just started thinking about, Lord,
calm your
I
mind.
need to know your law. And this is the thing that it's funny because in the court of the world, you're not finding peace. In the laws of the laws right now, our laws are so twisted up and we're not finding peace. But in the law of God, I find this peace and this safety and this protection. And I'm thinking, I got to imagine that once upon a time, there was a time in our nation when they understood this. And I think what we need is to make God's law.
Do you know how many years ago that was?
250 years ago. That's right. That's exactly right.
Look how young our founding fathers were.
They were in their 20s.
20s and 30s, right?
The old guys were in their 30s.
Right.
Yeah.
And, okay, how long does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? I know you were thinking that. How long does it take men to get to that point where they can have nobility the way that our founding fathers, which were founding young men, our founding young men of America, they were there in their 20s and early 30s. My dad was there at his young age in his 20s and 30s, and he started writing these books about it. But today, it takes us to our 50s and 60s to get to the same place.
Hey, I'm just happy to get there.
There's so much world happening around, shiny things and flavors of life.
Yeah.
But also, what is lacking is spending time with the Word. And I'll just take a next break, and that's really it, because that's the calming we need.
There's my peace,
calming
right
of the soul. All right, we'll take a break. That was my line. You tried to steal it from me. Dang. We'll take a break and be right back. Alan and I was going to say Alan and Jan, but Alan and Brian. Oh my God!
Nowhere near as adorable as Jan.
You know
Nowhere
what?
Near.
And here's a good time for me to give your wife a compliment. So you just said the truth. Jan is an adorable human being.
Yeah.
And this man's wife, if you see her run the other way, she is now a black belt in martial arts. Run from her. Because if you joke and she don't like it, you joke, she choke.
What do you tell a husband with two black eyes? Nothing. He's been told twice. Right? It's just like.
And what do you tell a husband that has a wife with a black belt?
Yeah.
He better get his second black belt,
just
which
tell her,
he did.
yes, ma'am. You just say
this guy has 2 black belts, and his wife has one anyway.
Yeah, and let me tell you, she is a handful. I
think it's great.
We had this fun moment. And we're after. It's after class one time, and we're all kind of dressing down. Our guys are, in the men's and girls' locker rooms and stuff like that. I'm in with this guy. He's like 260 pounds.
My size. Okay,
he's a
gotcha.
firefighter. He's this big bruiser dude.
Oh, okay.
And he's younger. He's a lot younger than either me or my wife. He's in his 20s and stuff. Just a little younger than my wife. Sorry, honey. Anyways, he goes, we're dressing down and everything, getting our clothes back on. And he's like, oh, I hate fighting with your wife. And I'm like, why? He goes, she's like fighting a hornet's nest. I just died laughing. He's like, this big guy trying to grapple with her, and she's just laying it to him, man.
My gosh,
and
that's so funny.
And he's afterwards, he's like, I hate that.
And I'll stay on this topic for just a moment, because I can't imagine grappling or fighting against a woman as a man there is a barrier in my mind that says you must not hit a woman.
That's a good thing.
Although I've pushed past it with my own wife, it would be difficult with yours.
I'm making sure of that.
But isn't there, I mean, you fight with her, and I have to imagine that guy, part of it was like, you know, he's this big guy, and she's, you know, this little gal.
Look,
what is she, only 5'5"?
She's 5'2". She's 5'2", and you know, and she's...
And you're 6'2".
Yep, exactly. And so we're sitting there. So when you're grappling and when you're fighting and stuff like that, I mean, we're only going at, you know, we're playing between 40 and 70% of our capacity with one another, depending. And really, when I'm fighting with a female on, you know, you're trying to draw out of them to make them their best.
Gotcha.
You know, so if I'm sparring with her or something like that, I'm going, no, you need to hit that harder, you know, or whatever. And I'm trying to see what she can do, leave openings, see if she recognizes it.
It isn't just about going through the mechanical motions. It's actually making it connect and do its damage.
Yeah,
and you're
absolutely.
Looking for that.
And I'm also, you know, when we spar together, we're not trying to destroy each other. We're trying to bring out the best in each other.
Just so you know.
She's trying to destroy
I'll take him down. You watch this. He doesn't wear a cup every time.
Let me tell you, I always. Sometimes I wear two. Sometimes, you know, you just want to make sure.
Oh my gosh. You know, and so all these things are relative, though, to the conversation that we've been having here, because it's sharpening of the mind.
Yeah.
You guys are, you know, going through all this stuff with the black belts, and I mean, first of all, congratulations. That is amazing. Congratulations to his wife.
My wife puts out a ton of work. She's in the last 5 years, she has gotten her bachelor's degree, her master's degree, and she's gotten her black belt.
I'll tell you what, I don't remember signing the master's degree at all, but that's all right.
It's the other side of your family. I had one of your other family members. You know.
But you know what? At least she got it from somebody in the family.
Right.
But it's a sharpening of the mind, of the body, of the spirit.
Yeah.
And this is a good point. That what they're doing right now on this Jack Smith lawsuit or case or whatever that's being aired out in the world is that they are really going to show you how sharp your mind is, or you're just going to get mad. See, when I see it, I don't get mad. I actually, it's like, wow.
It's educational.
Look how sharp the other side is.
Yeah.
And when you play ping pong with somebody,
right.
It's a little white ball that doesn't have any. It's a little air ball.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it's nothing. If you get hit right square in the forehead with the hardest slam, you go, ow. That's about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and,
no wound.
But you appreciate the fact that if somebody's good, your opponent, you're like, a formidable opponent. Ooh, yes. Or you go, oh, crap, I'm beat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the question is, when we see this, do you go, oh, crap, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Or, oh, wow, I had no idea Trump was a whatever it is, a pedophile. I had no idea.
Right.
Well, he hasn't been proved to that yet. They're just saying that. But you know, look, they're
somebody
so
said the words.
They said you said the word.
Right. I mean, it just come out of your mouth.
The magic word.
Here's the thing.
With conviction.
When we were when the city of Grants Pass was being taken to court for the accusation of it being cruel and unusual punishment.
This was in the national news.
Well, before it became a national thing, and it was just a county and state thing. I was subpoenaed to give testimony in all of this, and I was asked questions by the attorney for the Oregon Law Center, and I was asked questions by the city attorney at the time, the city of Grants Pass, and what I knew when we were done, the city's going to lose this, and
really,
I knew before we got out of the room, the city was going to lose this, and I could just tell by the kinds of questions that the Oregon Law Center guy was asking, and the kind of questions that the city attorney from the city guy was asking and wasn't asking, and then I'm just reading their body language, and I'm watching this guy from the Oregon Law Center, and you can just see I'd love to have played poker with him, because you could just tell he had a good hand.
Yeah.
He had a full house in his hand, and he knew it. It was the dogs playing poker, and one of the dogs' tails wagging, and everybody's folding, and there's one of those moments, and the guy from Grants Pass just didn't see it.
Yeah. He
couldn't see it, and so when you're watching these things happen in a courtroom, it's the same kind of thing. You're going, they got an ace up their sleeve here, and they think, and if you don't, you need to know what that person has in his hands.
Yeah.
You need to know it, and you can know it by knowing it ahead of time or getting secret information, but a lot of times you can know it just by watching their poker face.
Well, so there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, Brian Boteller's wife, Shauna, got her black belt.
Yes.
And this guy here says, stop bragging about Miss Boteller's degree in liquor store management.
Liquor store management.
Because you got to have a black belt, like you said, and a master's degree and all these other things.
Yeah.
No,
somebody's got to do it.
What I was thinking is that in our lives, a lot of us, can I say this? That we want to have a simple life.
Sure.
And there's anything wrong with that? Not really.
No, I want to be the hobbits. I want to live in the Shire. I just want to like garden and read books and eat good food and be around family.
Here's what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because you will become a slave to those who are making the laws.
The orcs will come.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is the problem with the average American, is they have that beautiful American dream, which is to own a house and have a family and live this beautiful, joyful
peaceful life. Yeah.
But we live in a perilous world.
Yeah.
We cannot just sit back. My dad wrote a book called How to Survive the Comfort Zone. We cannot just sit in our comfort zone and say, I don't care what happens to the world, because we must care what happens to the world around us, because we will then be a part of that world. And that world, look where it was going. Look where it is, but look where it was going before we got a strong man in the White House that reversed it. And now the price of gas, if you notice, thank goodness, finally, and we're in the highest gas price part of the country.
Finally went below $3 a gallon.
It's like amazing. And I have people that are sending me $1.94, $1.89.
Oh, yeah, the rest of the country.
Wow, I got so used to paying $4 a gallon that it was like, oh, it's $3.99. What a deal!
Yeah,
I'm pulling in there, and it's like all of a sudden, wow. But everything else was going up with it. You know what wasn't going up with it was my ability to tell my renters, I've got to raise your rent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that. They know everything else is going up.
Yeah.
The price of electricity went up.
Yeah.
The price of everything went up.
Yeah.
Taxes. But I can't raise my rent on you. And so as I thought, wow, I was talking to my wife last night. We haven't raised rent on some of our people in 7 years.
Wow.
Commercial real estate, you add 3% on top of that every year, 3%. So I thought, we're dummies.
Yeah.
Because we got in our comfort zone. We thought, we like them, they like us. We just want to keep. And then all of a sudden, the price of everything went up. Insurance.
Yeah.
Everything went up. And then our interest rate on our loan came to the end of its 5 years, and it went up, right, by 2% from 4 to 6. Then we are now at a certain point, we're losing money.
Right.
And I said to my wife, we've got to raise some rents.
Yeah.
As much as I hate it.
Yeah.
And so I thought, they're making us into them.
They sure are.
We are becoming their puppets because we're comfortable. We thought we'll just leave it the way it is. We'll be okay. And all of a sudden you look at your bottom line and all of a sudden it starts turning red. Oh no. So this is why you must not just sit in your comfortable house that may be paid for, because the taxes are going to go up, the electricity is going to go up, the price of oil, the price of everything, natural gas, the price of your food, the price of your insurance, and then they're going to come in and say, oh yeah, we can't even insure your house because you're in a fire zone because of I mean,
I
everything.
have a coworker that just lost his insurance. Yeah, you're right. You if you sit and if you don't realize that. People say, I don't want to go to war, and war has come to you. That's
and
right.
All it takes for evil to prevail is for good men and women to do nothing, and you will lose. We must act. We'll take a break. Brian and Alan will be right back. Stay with us. All right, here we are back again talking about this very important point about the comfort zone. I don't want to be political. And the other day, I swear to you, Brian, Brian and I do a little church thing this Wednesday, every Wednesday morning at 6:30 in the morning.
I know.
With a group of guys. Thanks for getting me involved in that. I tell you what,
that is so good.
They didn't want my ass in there because I wasn't Christian enough for them.
Let me tell you something. And now, every time he comes in, they're like, "Man, we really appreciate you. We're really glad you're here." I love you, man.
Dave
always
this one guy. He's like your guy's oracle. He sits there and just watches.
Yep.
And he says to me, I really appreciate you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, thanks, Dave.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the guy is brilliant. I mean, there's guys in the world that I know that I go, he's a
sweet man,
but he is a sweet doer. He's just a good doer. He does it. He doesn't draw horns, blow horns or anything. This guy's traveled all over the world, served people all over the world, just going in trying to be a good person.
A good mix of guys.
Yeah,
and it's only men, and there's only about 6 or 8 of us in there, and. A good mix of interesting men.
That's fun.
And they didn't know. We don't know if he's a real Christian or not. I'm like so it's
look,
fine.
I'm telling you, he is. Shut up. Bring him in.
You know what? It's like it's for the judges to judge. I don't worry. It doesn't matter to me. But so I was in there. We were talking about politics and what have you because we sit around like men and talk like men.
Sure.
But actually not. No, actually we talk like respectable men. There's a different respectable men. There's no swearing. But men need to talk to men sometimes, just like I think ladies need to talk to ladies sometimes and get some things taken care of. And
sure.
So when we talk about our children and all these different things, which I thought, wow, this would be a great radio show.
It would be.
I mean, but it's the tree of trust. So we talk about things that, are important to us in our lives. And you and I do that on this radio show.
Yeah.
And I think we're not afraid of anything because we don't have filthy, rotten minds to have, to worry.
No, it's like Nick, what's his name? The kid that, is like, what are they going to say to me?
He's a virgin. He doesn't even go out with girls.
I don't do nothing.
He doesn't drink and
what
drugs.
Are you going to do, man? It's kind of the same thing.
What a great place to be for him at a young age.
I know. It's amazing.
You're there.
It's like, so what are you going to say about me? Trust me, I know way worse. I'll say it. I was like, I'm not embarrassed by my own worse.
Yeah.
It's in the past. If it's really worse, it's in the past. And I'm not saying I haven't done anything really worse.
Oh, yeah. People don't want to. He was a professional bowler for a while. They don't want to know about this.
Oh, man.
But what I was going to say is, I was. We were talking one day, I don't know, about a month or so ago, about getting involved in the politics of the town.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm kind of feeling pulled. And then all the guys in this group were talking about, but you know what? It's just so dangerous. And one of the guys had just gotten almost
kind of
recalled.
Finding his way out of it.
Yeah. And he's like, and then he's saying, but I'm going to run again.
Yeah.
Because he was appointed. He was appointed and he wasn't really voted in. Yeah. So we're talking about this stuff and what is, the comfort zone thing is, what can you withstand, with people just shooting arrows at you and throwing darts at you and saying horrible things about you? It's not easy.
No,
not easy for any human being.
Look, when we were in 2024, when I was going through all this stuff, when my name was all over the news, every major news outlet and everything, and we're out there in New York Times, Washington Post, San Francisco Chronicle. We were in all of them, and many of them were very unkind. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to get phone calls and death threats and
Really?
Oh yeah, it was just people. I'm not that hard to find. I mean, in the age of the internet.
Sure.
And suddenly, you're starting to get all of this, really nasty stuff. And I was not careful, and I shared all that was going on in that in a moment with my wife.
Oh.
And she's like, "You are not the only one at stake at this point now.
Yeah.
Now you've brought me into your fight.
No wonder she
now
got
you
a
bring
black belt.
Right, yeah.
And a 357 snub nose stainless steel hollow points.
So
I'm just warning you guys, bear spray.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't mess with her. I'm
don't do
telling
it.
you.
So, but she's like, and all of a sudden, my kids, everybody's like, wait a minute, this just became like a real thing. And,
Yeah,
and so,
yeah.
and look, I'm not, don't get me wrong. It wasn't, nothing happened or anything, in any real sense. But she and I both have lost friends, lost people that were, that we thought we knew and everything, that were like, yeah, no, your husband's a jerk, and everything. And so, part
They weren't
ways
your
with it.
friends to begin with.
No, it's true, but those are hard moments to be in, and that's the thing that any person that's running in a city politics and stuff like that, especially if they're well known in the community and have a lot of extended family and all this kind of stuff, and in this community, it's really tough. So I have a ton of just sympathy for folks that go in and try to fight that out. I have admiration
Put themselves
for them. Good
in that
for
role.
you.
So I was thinking, I thought, I think I have to do this. Thankfully, what I was telling, this whole thing coming to this commercial break.
Is there going to be an announcement here?
Yes.
Are you running?
No. Thankfully, you guys talked me out of it. Thank you, Brian. Woo, man. Thankfully, they talked me out of it.
Let me tell you something.
I was about to do it.
Well, let me tell you something, though. You are a guy that could and do well. And you have a lot at stake here in this community.
Let me tell you, I also have a 357 snub nose hollow point. Just so you know. I don't have a black belt. I got a brown belt that the whole
JCPenney
is so stretched out from my weight gain. Anyway, we'll take a break and be right back with another hour. All right. Thanks for joining us in hour 2 of our program. I was going to say How Your Mind Can Keep You Well in a Moment of Truth. That's my dad's old show. It was called How Your Mind Can Keep You Well in a Moment of Truth. But now we call it Perilous World Radio. My dad was an amazing dude. I am so glad to be his son, and I think about him often, about how he lived his life and what a nobleman he was. He really was. He was, how do you even describe a guy like that, being his son? I
so
just
great
witnessed
to
it
have
daily.
that,
It became kind of normal for me to be around this guy that was like, George Washington, a noble man. And that means I didn't have to be. Because he's doing all the nobility.
Just stand in the shadow, let him go handle the noble stuff.
Hunter Biden of the family.
You can be the prodigal running around, and
my gosh, right?
Oh my goodness.
But I was never a Hunter Biden. I wanted to be a good person, and I thought that my dad would see to that for me.
Okay.
I'm just giving you, I'm 65 years old. I can look back at my life thinking, what was I thinking?
Oh.
Right? It's like they always say, what would you say to the younger version of yourself? I would say, wake up, you stupid idiot. Your dad's not going to see to it that you're going to be a good man. He'll beat your ass if you get out of line. And if you lie to him, watch out.
Yeah.
I was grounded for life when I was 18.
Wow.
He couldn't ground me anymore, and I'm 18. He goes, but you're grounded for life. And I'm like, oh, damn it. And he means it. My dad meant what he said, So I used to tell my kid.
I'd like to meet you, but I'm stuck in my room.
By the way, that's Brian Boteller, if I didn't tell you. Gospel Rescue Mission. I remember with my children, I thought, why are they not listening to me? And I finally said to him, I said, if you don't quit it, I'm going to tear your arm off and beat you with a bloody stump. And they went, what? And then they were like, 4 and 7, I was like, I'm serious. I'll tear your arm off.
It's going to happen.
Anyway, my wife used to call me the Hammer. And because I knew that my dad, even though he was a tough dad, he was a tough dad, it was a noble thing that he was doing.
Sure.
He wasn't rude. He didn't use swear words. He didn't call me an idiot or like I'm going to be this, that, or the other. He didn't use those tactics. He says, you're going to respect me, and if you don't, you're going to have to pay the consequences. Well, what are the consequences? You'll find out. And you didn't want to find out.
Of course.
And so it was like, I trusted my dad with everything I had. I didn't like it. And every now and then I would rebel a little bit, but I never got into smoking and drinking and drugging and anything until one girl came along, and I was like, hey, girls, nothing wrong with that. And I was like, 18 years old. But and then I had one girlfriend besides my wife, Jan.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I ran away from her. I literally left the state to get away from her because I knew God touched me on the head and said, this is not the one for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not the one for me. And I got the hell out of town.
Time to cut bait.
And then I met Jan.
Yep.
And it was like, this is the one for you. And I was like, this is the one for me. And it's kind of like that. What movie is it where, it's like I just did that. He says, God says, this is the one for you. And you repeat it. You hear it inside and you go, this is the one for me.
Right.
It's not even my thoughts, right?
Those aren't the droids you're looking for.
Right.
Those aren't the droids we're looking for.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I realized, what would I say to myself as a younger man? Wake up. You must make wise decisions on your own. So you folks out there listening, and Brian, I'm sure you're going to agree with this, wake up. Nobody, not us, not anybody is going to be there for you every moment of every day of your life. You must seek the one that is, the Holy Spirit. Your connection to God in heaven and your Savior.
Yeah.
He is with you. Anybody else, my friend, you say to me, what do you think, Alan? I go, what do you think? You've been asking me forever, what do I think? Easy for me to tell you what I think, and then you'd go and run with it. And then, that didn't work. What'd you tell me to do that for? Or it did work, and then guess what? I get credit. But you don't, because you were too stupid to think of that on your own. I'd say to my friend, I go, you got to use your own God-given intuition, understanding. You got to search for it. You folks out there, we all have to do this. We have to listen for the small, quiet voice, right?
Like, just get up and live the life you're in. Don't be a spectator. Get in and participate.
Yeah, you don't be the man in the arena.
Yeah.
Be the man in the arena. Don't be the man in the
Coliseum. Don't be the man in the audience.
In the audience, right?
Don't be the armchair quarterback.
Everybody does that. They sit there and talk about the man in the arena. Yeah. So a friend of mine, just yesterday, I shouldn't call him a friend of mine. Well, he is a friend of mine. Actually, I've known him a lot of years, but I don't really consider him a friend. He's a guy that does work for me. I like him because I can see his little boy spirit in there, but I see a disturbed man. And I talked about it actually on Monday. He can't get to work on time. So the very next day that he's supposed to be there, and he says, I'm really going to work on this, he shows up again. He sends me a text at 9:30.
Yeah.
He says, I just woke up. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get to sleep last night. Probably because he's worrying about getting the work on time. You know what I'm saying? Worry. So he says, and I just sent him a face like kind of a face emoji.
Yeah.
And when I got there, he had just arrived at about 10:15 or so.
Yeah.
And how do you run a business where the employee is supposed to be there at 8, shows up at 10:15? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And he knows that it just drives me nuts. But what I realized after going through the whole undulation on Monday's show, or Tuesday for the radio stations, I saw kind of my kind of, just this total disdain, this kind of a little bit of resentment of, you stupid person, why are you doing this to me? he's not doing it to me. He's doing it to himself.
For sure.
He's hurting his own self. So I see him, and I'm disgusted, and I just don't. I'm like, he's like, hey, sorry I'm late, but I'm going to get to it. I'll stay late and finish what I'm doing. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I was thinking, oh, if you only knew, I got so much to say to you. But there's other guys around. I want to be thoughtful. And
right.
So then finally, it's just me and him. And this, I tell these stories. I out myself because I'm like, nobody's perfect.
Right. Sure.
I out myself.
Sure.
I see him. We're in this room. He's painting, and I go, "Hey!" And he's got these headphones in. He goes, "What? Huh? What'd you say?" And I'm like, "What are you doing? Listening to music?" "Oh yeah, I listen to music while I'm working." I go, "Yeah." I go, "Because you're trying to drown out all of the thoughts that are in the tornado of your mind." I go, "Why don't you meditate, man?" He knows about my dad's meditation.
Yeah.
I go, "Why don't you try meditating?" How long have we known each other? Like 30 years.
Yeah.
And I look at him and I go, "Dude, look at your eyes." He can't look at his own eyes. I said, "Your eyes are dark all around them." He goes, "Because I can't sleep." I go, "You know why you can't sleep?" I said, "Your mind is like a busy freeway with every thought and mind, it's everything going on there.
Right.
Like, I don't even know how to put words on it. Everything going on in there."
Yep.
And I said, "It's a tornado of thoughts." I said, "You can't sleep because your mind is torturing you because you are caught up in your mind. You are not separating yourself from those thoughts that are not even yours. That's like Satan's universe up in there, and you're pulled into it." And I said to him, "You're not going to be able to find peace." What did God say? "Be still and know that I am God." He says this because he wants you to find that stillness in him.
That's right.
I said, "You are so busy trying to figure out your problems and figure out your destiny and whatever it is you're supposed to do. You are not having faith." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "Well, I said a prayer before I went to bed." I go, "That's great. That's a nice thing to do." I said, "But you are not spending time with God. You're just sending him a little love note, please God, I need this, that, and the other thing." I said, "But you need to step back from all of that. And even if you're doing mechanical Christianity, a lot of people do mechanical Christianity."
It's totally true.
Right? And so if you're doing all the mechanical steps, thinking that's going to save you, you are not placing yourself in a place of vulnerability. And I said, "That's what you need." I said, "Those dark eyes and that inability to sleep." I said, "You know that I want to kill you." And he looks at me and laughs. He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "You're putting murder in my heart because you're late every day." I said, "You want to do that to your friend?" And we laughed, right? Because it's heavy stuff to talk about.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
And I said, "Dude, don't make me a murderer because I'm going to murder you for this. You're making me into a murderer."
You heard it here on Perilous World Radio. That's
anyway,
right.
We'll take a break and be right back. It's the truth. Anyway, welcome back, Perilous World Radio. Brian Boteller's here. I'm Alan Masters. We're talking about my dad's meditation, of which...
Confessions of a television radio star, and
the
everything.
fact that I wanted to kill a guy. It's true story.
There's a story about a guy, this Chinese, one of the first Chinese Christian missionaries to China. A guy named Watchman Nee. And Watchman Nee tells this story of everybody would go down in this village, go down to this river, and they go down to this village and they go down to bathe and by the river. All the men would go down together and everything, and they'd go down to bathe in the river. But nobody knew how to swim except for like one guy. And so they're out there and they're bathing, and some of the guys are playing in the water, but somebody goes out too far. And, help, help. And everybody looks over at this guy that can swim, and he's just standing there, and he's help me, and everybody's like, "Look, you're gonna save him? You get in and save him," and he's just still quietly looking. Time's going on, and this guy's floundering, and finally he's like, blah, blah. You can see him slowing down because he's having a hard time swimming, and pretty soon, he's kind of going under and then coming back up. And everybody's looking, what are you doing? And finally, as this guy's just about to go under, the guy jumps in, goes in and drags him out. And everybody's like, why did you wait so long to save him?
I was a lifeguard, so I fully understand this, but go ahead.
Yep. And he says, if I would have gone out when he first started going, he'd have drowned us both. He said, I waited until he despaired for life. And then I went to go save him. When he was done saving himself, trying to save himself, that's when I decided to go in and do it.
Right.
And that's kind of what, we do in some ways with our friends, and I do it in the mission, and everything like that. I got to get them to stop trying to save themselves, because it's in the saving of themselves. If they could save themselves, they would have done it, But everybody knows they're drowning, and everybody looks and goes, man, what are you doing? Why don't you just run out there? And I'm like, it's okay. Let them get to the spot that they're just about. When they've given up hope and they've given up fighting, that's when I'll go in and do it. Because when they are ready to try something else and stop fighting the whole thing, and I think that's kind of where we are in so many ways in our own culture and with so many people. I watch them sit there and struggle and flounder, and I can go out there and do something, but they're just as likely to take me down when I do it.
So when I went to learn to be a lifeguard, I wanted to be a lifeguard. I grew up in Ventura, California. I thought, oh, the lifeguards, yeah, they're cool,
Yeah.
So my senior year, before I dropped out of high school, there were so many disappointing things about my senior year. I took life saving and lifeguard, and I learned how to do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And of course, they made you practice on boys. Boys practicing on boys, and I'm like, you need a shave. That's disgusting. And it's like, oh my, there were so many things that were like, wake me up. And I'm like, what is your motivation behind this, and why are you doing this? And I just kept on waking up to the realities of the genesis inside of me of being a lifeguard was not because I wanted to save someone's lives. It was to get chicks, right?
Right.
I mean,
it's where all the girls were.
Right. Well, and you're
dressed exactly like
if she's drowning, you get to make out with her to help her. It's like the mind of a young boy, right?
Of course.
Senior in high school.
Yep.
And so, and I got pretty good at being a lifesaver, but when I realized that what you just said there, that story was so true, that when a person first starts drowning, they are frantic. They're at the strongest point of their entire life.
Yes, exactly.
Because they're trying to save their own life.
Look at all the energy. And they're going to tell you, look at all that I'm doing.
Yes, right. And they're screaming and yelling and frantic. And if you swim up to them, you know what they're going to do? Wrap themselves around you and drown you.
Stand on your head.
And you will not be strong enough to break free from that stranglehold.
Both drowned. That's right.
And so the next thing they teach you is you must approach from behind. And it's like, why? You want them to see you, don't you? No! Approach from behind so that you are in control, and then you reach around, you grab under their chin, and you pull them back. Yeah. Right? And then, so when they feel that, they go, someone is saving me. Yeah. Thank God something is happening, because now I'm looking up into the sky instead of the water.
My face is out of the water.
Yeah. And then he says, and then you wrap your arm around, the chest, put their hand underneath their arm, and you be in control of them. Do not let them turn over.
Don't want them doing this.
No, their hands have to be up here, and you're behind them.
Yep.
And he says, you have to control the whole entire thing with strength and authority. And I remember going, okay, I'm out.
That is true in saving somebody's life, and that's true in taking somebody's life too. There's a reason that a rear naked choke is such a powerful term.
Really?
When you get behind somebody.
Why do you have to be naked when you do that, though?
The neck is naked.
Oh. I thought, really? You got to be naked when you choke somebody.
The rear naked choke is such a powerful, and people go, what's your defense when somebody's got a rear naked choke set in? You're like, it's too late. You're going down.
Yeah.
Your defense is, God, here I come.
Yeah.
Because you got about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You got about 3 seconds before the lights just go dim.
Yeah.
And, you know,
what is the defense? Grab their little finger?
You know, no, if you can grab their finger, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, if they've got it choked in and everything like that, you failed so many previous steps, opportunities.
Because you go black so quick.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
It's like, what's the defense when the bullet's coming at you?
Yeah,
well,
it's too late.
it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've gone too far. There, you might be able to flounder and luck into something, but it's just sheer accident. You know?
So it's funny, this conversation goes all over the place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of great little bits of life understanding and lessons built into it.
Totally.
I just remember once I had learned how to be a lifesaver, I thought, okay, I know how to save someone's life in case of emergency. Mm-hmm. But I realized that my motivation for doing that was so wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really want to save a big fat man and have to give him mouth to mouth. That's the guy that may be drowning, or a big fat woman. Who cares? Right. But it was when I realized my motivation for what I was doing, I was no longer interested in doing it. And I realized even when I wanted to get my pilot's license, I bought an airplane with a friend of mine. I was 26 years old. Wow. Me and another guy bought an airplane, and I wanted to learn how to fly in my own airplane. But I made a deal with my wife because I had just gotten married. She said, I don't want to have to raise a kid alone if you crash. And I said, well, when you get pregnant, I'll sell the airplane. Mm-hmm. 3 months later, she gets pregnant.
She's like,
I sold the airplane.
You set a goal for me,
but I was honest and I stayed to it. We'll be right back. It's time for Perilous World Radio's Patriot Outreach segment.
It is.
Be right back. Well, that went all over the place.
Yes, it did.
Damn.
Taking life, giving life.
Right?
Saving life.
Who's on today?
Swimming.
Okay.
Flying.
You know, life is funny, but life goes all over the place like that, don't it?
It does. You know, well, it's fun to follow squirrels with you.
Uh-oh.
You know, chase the squirrels.
There it is. Why aren't these select to get started? Monaco. Oh, there we go.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay, here we go. Man, Watchman Nee. I've never heard that one.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Yeah, very, very good stuff. Yeah. You can still find his writings and stuff. Great.
Look at that, 1920.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, greetings.
Greetings to the Colonel of Tony Monaco. Yes, glorious day. Yes, sir. Okay, let's find, there's the phone number right there. Let's see if we have that phone number anywhere. Dial the number. Let's see if we have it. And...
we're speaking with Don Weston again.
I don't know why it's not on there, but that's okay.
It is on there.
No, it's on your sheet. It's not in the. It's not in the memory banks.
Did you pull that up from the plus over there, or did you pull it up from a plus over here?
I better copy and do that, hadn't I?
Yeah.
Look at you learning how to do this stuff.
You know, one of these days when I grow up,
oh my gosh,
I'm going to be a real boy.
You know, in a year or two, you'll be perfect at it.
Oh my gosh. He actually knows what he's doing now. He could do the show without me.
I love your optimism,
so you
brother.
feel threatened, huh?
Uh-oh, I didn't do that right.
Are we calling somebody?
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I sure did. By golly.
Golly by golly.
Oh, by golly. Watchman Nee. Now I got to find that one and just read it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there's some great stories there.
Hello there.
Good morning, Sergeant. First Sergeant.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, if you folks are ready, Colonel Tony Monaco, you still there?
Roger, Dodger.
Roger, Dodger.
Right.
Okay, here we go, folks. Welcome back, Perilous World Radio. Time for our Patriot Outreach segment. Colonel Tony Monaco's on the line, and retired Army First Sergeant Don Weston also joining us. I'm Alan Masters. Brian Boteller's here. Colonel, what you got on the docket today?
Well, you know, this happened last night. I was with a Vietnam veteran
Yep.
who was distressed over the chaos in our beloved country. And of course, I say, you know, say your prayers, get on your knees, because things are improving. And he goes, how so? And I say, you know, when I took a class in college, this is back in the 70s, a half a century ago, There was a psychiatrist who was taught a class, and she was talking about the mental mindset of the nation. And there was a shooting at a McDonald's. And she says it's not the shooting at McDonald's that was the problem. The problem is the psychic of the nation. People won't go to the other 17,000 McDonald's because they're afraid. And as a result of
Ripple
that,
effect. Yeah.
As a result of that, he was concerned because of all the violence and chaos. I said, no, my friend. It's only happening in sanctuary cities. If you look at Texas and Florida, 30 to 50,000 people have been imprisoned because the local officials cooperate. And, when you take a look at things, there are truly professional protesters who are arranging and orchestrating these events.
Right.
And Lenin would be proud because he said we have to use these youthful idiots.
That's right.
Now, look, we live in Oregon. We know all about that. We're
West
deep in
Virginia.
useful idiots.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere,
Okay, what say you, Dr. Weston?
Well, I say that they don't mess with us in here in Kansas or Texas or other places because they know the congregation members are armed.
Well, we were just talking about that. That Brian's wife just got a black belt in martial arts. I said, and she carries bear spray and a 357 with hollow points. Don't mess with that woman. Anyway, but yes, that's the way it should be. That's why we have our Second Amendment. We better damn well keep it. But go ahead, Dawn.
Yeah, if we want to keep our Christian churches open and following Jesus, then we have to protect our churches.
Yeah.
And we have to find judges that will. I just saw the case where one of the judges, magistrate judge, federal judge, decided he was not going to sign the complaint against Don Lemon.
Don Lemon?
Now,
the
lesser people they are. The lesser people they are. But what ticked me off about him was, I'd sit there following his lifestyles and how he purports to be a Christian. And I'm going, which Christian faith do you belong to? Because none of the tenets there follow you.
The non-Christian one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, And we got to protect our churches. I think it also came from when COVID hit, and the federal government and the state governments and the county governments decided they could close down churches for an accidental threat of a virus.
Right. Not the liquor stores, just the churches.
Yeah. Somebody got their jurisdictional boundaries crossed up on that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Man.
So this is going to be an interesting time to see what happens.
Well, we were talking about this, and I think Brian was the one that said it. We were talking about this Jack Smith trial that's going on in the news, and when these liars of the left, I'll say it just as bold as that. Mm-hmm. When the liars of the left open their mouth, lies come out. But Brian said, yeah, they said it. They said it. And that's what makes it true. Just because somebody said it, it makes it true. Mm. That in itself is a lie. Yep. And the problem is, and that's how we started out the show was, you have to sharpen your mind because they are playing ninja mind games on us with lies. Just because authorities say things don't make them true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, a lie actually travels faster than the truth.
Yes.
It pops around and bounces around, and people just, if somebody says it, it must be true.
So Brian was talking about how he had death threats even, and he runs a gospel rescue mission, for goodness sakes. And the left just wants us to the right. The left wants us dead. And they're trying their best to do that. I mean, when they can enter a church the way they did, and the law can't prosecute them for doing their wrong, and
they won't.
Right.
That's
when
right.
a judge won't sign these things, he's saying you can't.
That's right.
And so that's where our biggest problem is that the whole system is so broken and infiltrated with lies and evil that this is why the battle of the mind and the war that is being fought for our soul is the biggest it's ever been, I think, in history, because there's more people in the world today. It's just, it's astronomical.
Let me jump in here a second,
Yes.
brothers. The question a young mentor of mine, or not young, he was 50 and I was 20-something, made a comment that stuck with me. He says, all a tyrant wants is submission.
Yeah.
All a tyrant wants is submission. So if you feel powerless, if you feel hopeless, you feel like you can't do anything, the tyrant has won.
Yeah.
But in fact, in Kansas, in a recent election, they had to do a recount of the vote 3 times, and the outcome turned out to be the same 3 times. The person won by a single vote.
Wow.
In other words, we're running around and say, you can make a difference. No, the point is you are the difference. So get involved in the local political activities, get involved because you've been blessed. Do it.
Get off your couch, get out of the pew, and get up and get something done.
So the other side of that is when you see a person who has chosen to put themselves in that role, and that ain't no easy role, I got to tell you. As we were talking about earlier in the show, because something was pulling me and yanking me and saying, you got to get involved. And we have a friend that we have a men's group with and talk to. And what did I say? Yesterday morning is when it was. I pointed at him right in the eye from across the room and I said, I've got your back.
That's right.
We need to support those who have chosen these noble jobs, because this guy, what's he earning? He said $37,000 to be a state representative.
Yep, he's taking a pay cut from his regular
real estate
role,
job by probably
to come in and do this easily.
Yeah. And we need to support these good people that have chosen to do this when they're good. And when they're good, because especially on a local level, the difference between good and evil in that in the local level.
Yep.
So support people that are doing it.
Hold on. You just made me realize.
Yes.
Did you cash that $1 campaign check I mailed you?
No, I haven't yet. He sent me $1 check.
Right. Okay, because somebody's already knows and goes, hey, look, this gentleman is a good leader.
I promised several episodes back that I would be the first one to donate the first $1 to start your campaign.
You could have sent a real $1 because I would have put that in my pocket. That one I've got pinned to my wall, by the way. It says campaign donation. Oh, my gosh. And I'm not saying I won't, because it's on my heart.
Hey, when God calls you to it.
When the time comes, I'll know. And I was even thinking, how old was Trump when he decided to run for president? Not that I'm going to run for president. Yeah. He was, probably 68, 69?
70, somewhere in there, yeah.
Because, and I thought, and I even made the point, Don and Colonel Monaco there, I made the point that our founding fathers were in their late 20s and early 30s, and Brian's 56, and I'm 65, and I'm thinking, I'm just now feeling like I could do that job.
That's right.
These men did it in their 20s and early 30s.
Yeah.
And it's because the world has really... the world has pulled us down, and we have to be so much older.
You're just saying you're fat and lazy.
Well, I am fat and lazy, damn it. Golly. Don, help us out.
You're bored, so you start to play in politics or something,
Oh, man. Come on, Don. You got to help me out here.
Well, this FACE Act has got to be useful. I'm hoping that the FACE Act is going to help us in this process.
What's the FACE Act? What is it?
The Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act.
Oh, tell us about that, Dawn.
And the Republicans added to it church.
Yep.
Because the Democrats only wanted to protect abortion clinics, but the Republicans, so that they could get votes of the Republicans, added churches to it.
Yep.
So it does. And then they also want to go with the KKK Act, which is, I think, 1781. And that was to protect freed slaves in voting and other things. And what it does is it lets the federal government intervene in state and city functions.
That's so good.
Yep.
So the gibbet that Haman created to hang Mordecai from is the very gibbet that will end up hanging Don Lemon and this group. If you're familiar with the reference from the Book of Esther.
Wow!
Yeah.
Look at him pulling that stuff up.
Yep.
Amazing.
right out of the.
Unbelievable. Well, listen, you guys, first of all, patriotoutreach.org. I certainly appreciate having you guys both on. We are coming up on a commercial break here. Don Weston, thank you so much for being part of the show. And the FACE Act. Yeah, everybody should look that one up. I didn't even hear that one before. Yeah. Colonel Tony Monaco, your $1 check. I don't know what to tell you about that. I guess I'll hold on to it till I decide to run.
Push this campaign on. There you go.
Bring it in and show your audience that I mean what I say.
Boy, the guy does what he says. Way to double
That's
down.
so funny. Thank you guys very much. Support Patriot Outreach at patriotoutreach.org. And also, they'll be back next week, same time, same channel. We have them on once a week to support our patriots, like Don Weston and Colonel Tony Monaco. Thank you guys both much for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have
a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, bring that $1 check into the studio there and show it to your audience.
Show it off.
Hey.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Tony, the Colonel had to go out and collect a lot of cans to raise that money.
All right. See you later, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, get rid of that one and that. Oops, okay. All right, last segment. All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again, Perilous World Radio. Brian Boteller, Gospel Rescue Mission and Grants Pass website.
It is grantspassmission.org.
And you know what? They could use the support the same as the Foundation of Human Understanding because we are nonprofit organizations. Mm-hmm. Brian helps the homeless people, but he doesn't just put the silver spoon in their mouth. He holds them to a certain standard, and he kind of lays down the law, and he has protocol that people have to abide by to even be able to stay there. And it's always got beds, and there's homeless all over the place.
It's so true.
They just don't want to hear about God.
There's some people out there that are not done saving themselves. They're still floundering in the water.
Yes.
We just got to wait until they go down.
That's right.
And everything. You can't save them all the first time around.
That was such a good point. I was thinking about a loved one that is floundering in their life. And we all have loved ones that are floundering.
Sure.
And, I thought I could force my will. I could say, you have to stop. You must do this. You must do that. I could put down the law. You stupid idiot. Why don't you listen to me? I could, you could get strong with them, being willful. And it's like, but that's not the way to do it.
And then all you're doing is matching your strength with their strength.
Sin for sin.
And what happens? You both drown.
That's right. So I looked at him. It's like watching. It's like, even like the guy that works for me. It takes a lot to get me angry.
Yeah.
But when you work with my work ethic, and you mess with my work ethic, ooh, you are treading on sacred ground. Yeah. Because that's my word.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my word. I gave my word we'd have this, that, or the other thing done.
I remember driving the boat in the wrong direction, and man, feeling the wrath of Alan on that. What are you doing?
You're driving over our lines. Anyway, but I remember, so when I saw the dark eyes, I was telling that story earlier, the guy who can't get to work on time. He says, I just can't sleep. And I'm telling him, I said, you gotta do something different.
Yeah.
You can't keep... What is it?
If you want a different outcome, you got to do something different. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result.
That's it. Einstein's definition of insanity is, and I thought, do something different. I said, haven't you heard of the meditation exercise? He's like, yeah. And I said, yeah. Well, here you are, 45 years old. Yeah. I said, something different. I said, you are caught up in it. And I realized I love the guy.
Yeah.
I realized I love him, and I didn't want to be willful with him. So that's why I started playing with him. You make me want to kill you.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you that at the end of the day, I had to go somewhere and do something, and I said, I got to go. He goes, all right, man. Hey, thanks for the talk, And I realized that actually may have done some good. Yeah. I'll reinforce that with, hey, have you meditated? Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Well, I said a prayer. Okay, but you know what? You need to do something different. And maybe this is that little different thing.
Yep.
Maybe you call it whatever the heck you want.
Yep.
Sit quietly in prayer.
Yep.
I said, don't do it for 27 seconds. Mm-hmm. Spend 10 minutes. What is it? Blaise Pascal says, all of mankind's problems stem from his inability to sit quietly in a room by himself. All of mankind's problems stem from this inability to give
believer
God,
in Christ, by the way, yes,
a few moments of your life to pay attention to His will instead of your own damn ego and your own anti-Christical will. That's a word I just made up.
I know it was, and it really almost sounded like English.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's from the old Bible of Al.
Oh, okay.
Of Al. Anyway, I just I can't help but love people that cause me to really look at myself. What a gift it is to have somebody that is like, here's a guy, he's a painter. It's like, no big deal. It's not like he's not the carpenter. He's not he's painting. It's like the job is almost done.
Right.
But he's the most important part of the very end to make it look really nice.
Yep.
He's at the end of the job. I could hire another painter.
Right.
Anybody can paint, right?
Yeah.
But here's a guy that put me in a position where I really had to take a look at my own self for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Part of the learning. One
draw
man
stuff
sharpens
out of
another.
you. That's
Yes.
right. It's drawing out stuff in your deep waters that you're going, oh man, how do I deal with? I mean, if we never have to deal with conflict, if we never have to deal with challenge, then we sit there and just get fat and bloated and become worthless ourselves.
Yep.
We take the good tools that God has given us, the things that we've equipped and added to our arsenal over the years, and now it's time to use them. And it's time to use them in engaging one another and trying to sharpen other.
I had a conversation with a guy this morning who's probably listening to me on the phone. I said, we need to have the kind of relationship where we have such good communication. If we disagree, we tell the other one, I disagree with that. I don't like that. That doesn't rub me right.
Right.
That to me, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to do that.
Right.
They want to have a surface level conversation. They want to have a surface level relationship.
Right.
And with my guys that work for me and gals, I don't want to just have a surface level relationship. There's got to be more below the surface and actually more depth of understanding for each other's sake, for your sake, for my sake.
Yeah.
But this guy brought something to me, which is he made me look at my own self. And then I realized I appreciated him for making me look at my own self, because I don't want to walk through life with that chip on my shoulder. Anyway, so I recognize that I love this guy. And I really want to help him. I also want him to show up on time. But more than wanting him to show up on time, because that job will be over and I don't see him again for another 6 months, I want to help him in his life, because that to me is God's gift to me, through me, to him, back to me again.
Yep.
And you're that way with me. You're a guy that I met, brother, that you bring so much into my life. I appreciate you so much.
Awesome, man. Yeah. I feel the same way. The same way.
Not your wife, though. Tell her, keep those black belts away from me.
Watch out.
Brian Boteller, Gospel Rescue Mission.
GrantsPassMission.org.
And I'm Alan Masters, Foundation of Human Understanding, FHU.com. See you next time. And go ahead, aggravate me.
God bless you all.
For it.
God bless you all.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye. That's it. We did the show.
We did it.
We're going to go to work
One
now.
more show flying by.
All right, so now what I do is turn everything off.
That's right.
And then we can leave. off, and yes, we off. And then these things over here go off,